Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm on my phone. Hello? What did you say? Yeah. Yeah. Hello? I Can you hear me now? Oh, now I can hear you. What were you saying? What? Are you serious? Wow. For your shift today? Damn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry they can hear my voice. I don't know how to turn it off. Damn. I might. I'm still really tired. Not too good. It's just like, you know, not too good. I'm trying to figure out how to do that though. Um, yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Um, I don't think I can watch your stream in Discord. Oh, okay.
Muted. I was muted the entire time. On on Twitch, and no one told me.
Oh.
Oh. Well. Well. Oh, fucking well. Got you, Cheryl.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it on my phone.
Not sure how to do it on your phone. Bring a flashlight. I mean, not a flashlight. Bring a medkit because 3 people would. 3 of us would.
Wait, I'm gonna try something. Never mind. I accidentally pressed deafen.
Oh no.
Damn, yeah, I don't know what to do.
We'll just hear your voice.
Yeah, but I don't want to ruin your stream.
How you gonna ruin my stream?
True.
Can you do it on your phone?
What?
Are you watching the, you can probably do this.
Let me see. Shit, where are you at?
And me. I don't even know if it's officially broadcast. Alright, everyone, there is an ad break coming, but that is how I get paid. Remember, you are more than welcome to subscribe.
I'm watching the ad right now. It's ad 2 of 2.
The Hound Master. Ads do get paused in crucial moments, yes.
Oh, that was a great skill check.
Of mine?
Yeah.
course that hit. I got Franklin. I don't even wanna fucking play this match anymore. I don't even wanna. A med kit's playing right here, right beside me. Can't even pick it up. Hi everyone, welcome in live. We are live on Twitch as well. Need my med. How was everyone's day? Hey, Strawberry. The game is Dead by Daylight. I updated the name. Does the stream look okay on your side, Bree?
What?
Does the stream look good on your end?
Yeah, it looked fine. I'm probably gonna hop on. So, I'll be on in a couple minutes. Okay. Okay, I'll be back. Alright, bye.
Alright, we got one coming. Got one. Not her tunneling. Oh, what is this Sable doing? The Sable is straight bringing her to us. That's unfortunate. He unfortunately. Thanks, Tricky. Thank you. I'll stay hydrated. I don't know why I don't know what that Sable was doing. And my med kit's gone. I think How are you doing, Tricky? This is my first game one today, actually. This is my first game one. But so far it's How was your day though, Tristan? Yeah, I'm at a late stream tonight. Probably for like 5 hours. I streamed earlier today, but I was streaming Overwatch. I played a little bit of Overwatch earlier in Fortnite. And then it was like I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and then come back when you really think we're over there? Overwatch was fun. I was playing with some friends. It was good though. Just leaves me. So at first I didn't like Overwatch, but then I started playing it way more. I started playing it back in season 6 is when I started playing it. And then I stopped playing it till like season 9 and then I started playing it again. Thank you, thank you. Slug me out. She gonna wait for that Mori. She gonna wait for that Mori. GG's though. Unfortunately, I wish the one person never gave up on both. Now that they added oh, they ran. They really will slow. Her Mori's pretty cool though. I love her. Her Mori is probably one of my favorites. not to bring a flashlight last game. I'm glad I didn't bring it. Oh god, any good flashlight? Here, we'll play Steve. I have somebody joining, but I thought they said they were going to join in a couple minutes. Didn't join. Oh, it's in the nightlight thing, the thing that you showed me. Welcome in, Twin. Welcome in. Yeah, it's on the nightlight thing. I found it on there. I was like, I love this. Like my favorite. And then like the killer portraits are like they have a red outline. And out of 10. How are you doing, Twin? Guess my friend's not joining. Hi everyone on TikTok. We are live on Twitch as well. What kind of mac and cheese? What kind of mac and cheese? Main mac and cheese, or is it like Fox mac? Velveeta? Okay, Velveeta's good. I like Velveeta. There's 3 I hate running flashlights when everyone else runs them. It's just like, I know I'm gonna lose that shit. Or there's no point in me bringing it, you know what I mean? I may want to bring this. It's like, what happens when watch this. Did you get your drops, Tricky? Did you get your, you probably did. You already got your, scanners and stuff. Look, yeah, I think this is the most my TikTok and my my Twitch has. Usually it's either TikTok or usually Twitch. TikTok and Twitch are good things. Yeah, I'm definitely glad that those are my favorite things. They're my favorite things to get these out. Have one. No, I gotta run my Steam partner on, dude. Fuck. Ah! Kind of black. Ah! I'm so laggy. Does he run his Steam partner too? I couldn't even tell. I'm glad that he took that. Glad that he took my hand. I don't understand. Sometimes, like, when I go my way, the game like none of them are on generators, so it's just like one that I don't know what's going on with. I have no idea. Does that? Can we go help them? Yeah, they got it. We got it. We call him merciless. Now my clock's up here in the middle of my screen. Well, not necessarily middle. No merciless. What did? Wait, is this the thing? You have plaything to come back to unhook. Alright, we'll check that totem. He's dead, unfortunately, already. We got one generator down, and Ray is dead. Not like Warren. He doesn't got. Guys, we didn't get on generators. Please call him out. Just want some generators. I did the one generator. The one generator that's done, I don't usually be on generators.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey.
Hi. Look, he just slugging. All three of them are slugs. What am I supposed to do?
I don't see the option where you do that.
All three of them. They're just slugs.
Oops. Accidentally left the thing by accident.
Why is she killing herself? Like, you guys are the ones that brought me to this map. I'm not the only one suffering. Ow. Y'all brought me here. Y'all are suffering with me. They ain't gonna make it out of here because they ain't gonna kill me. They literally brought me to this map and then killed themselves.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Damn.
Alright, to the other side of the map I go. Let's see how many generators I can get them. Let's see how many generators I can get them off. He's just gonna slug her. She's got UV. Picked herself up. I got him. What's this man doing? Hear him shot the second time. Yeah, I think we just easy next step, bro. There's 3 generators left. People. Even want to go on this map.
What map is it?
Scary. Welcome into the TikTok live. We are live on. Oh, if you would like to come. Oh, he's literally waiting. Like, literally waiting.
Are you still alive?
I'm gonna run through the rest of them real quick. Entertain chat real quick.
Okay.
That's one. What's TikTok? Which is? Yep, okay. TikTok. I'll be back.
Should-
Bathroom real quick.
Should I join it on Twitch or TikTok?
Doesn't. You can join it on Twitch. It's TikTok. TikTok, if you want to watch, you're more than welcome to come over to Twitch. But other than that, I'm going to be pausing the. I'm going.
Oh, mac and cheese sounds good. Mac and cheese sounds good. I think your Twitch is glitching. I was reading the chat and someone said they were chilling with mac and cheese and I was like, "Oh, mac and cheese sounds good." And then it just kept repeating it. It was funny. I don't know if it was my phone. I don't know if it was my phone.
It's just not repeating it on my end, but
Yeah. It was repeating it over and over again. It was like mac and
I
cheese.
think I might wanna have to host the lobby.
Why?
If I don't, because I'm gonna. I'll just like.
You think you're gonna lag because of my lobby?
Yeah, it's just fun with. Let's test around.
Hold on a minute.
Alright,
I need to
unpause. Hey everyone, we're back. Back.
Okay, something keeps going on with my builds because it's like not saving. Yeah, like... Hold on a minute. Sorry, I need to get my build back. I don't know what happened.
Yes.
It is very. You think I should do Blast Mine or Repressed Alliance?
Honestly,
I think I'm gonna do Repressed Alliance. Sorry, I'm trying to get my build real quick. I don't know what's been going on. It's been doing this constantly. Like, I didn't even wear this outfit last time, if you remember. Oh, well, this last time, I didn't even wear that outfit for Sable. It's like completely like erasing, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like the last things I did on DVD.
so it's this with it has to go that literally. Or does it look better?
I like that outfit. That outfit's cute.
This outfit right here?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it look better with that?
It looks better with that. I like the little green beanie. No, the green beanie.
I just don't like those glasses on her face. I don't know what it is about them. It looks so much better with or
Oh shoot, let's see if I have enough time to select a new challenge. Hopefully I do. Yep, I do. Whew, that was close.
wear the antler ear Felix outfit.
I like Claudette's outfit you had.
I'm gonna wear hers.
When will Sable's Christmas sweater be out? Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome into the TikTok live. We are also live on the Purple app if you would like to jump over there. You're more than welcome to join the lobby. No chat, I mean no voice. Just, well you can join the voice, but I'm talking to chat. Only if you're in the Discord though.
Yeah, I don't see it where I can mute myself so the stream doesn't hear me, but it's fine.
I don't know, it's weird.
I think maybe you have to do it because I think you've done it before.
I haven't done it. Dang, lobby.
Are you live on TikTok?
Yes, I am.
It doesn't say you are. It doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Are you serious? I must have.
I have your right TikTok, right? It's Rise TV.
Yep, that's me. Yeah, I know if it doesn't show that I'm live.
Damn. I mean, you should just go live on Twitch instead. Twitch is better.
I'm live.
Why is like the stream delayed for me?
It's called stream delay. It's supposed to be just in case like somebody were like stream sniping, you know, like while I'm in the game.
Oh, okay.
Wants it to be delayed.
Makes sense.
Hi everyone on TikTok, I mean on Twitch, there is an ad break coming. I'm just so you know, if you do subscribe, you do get that ad break content. You can barely hear me on Twitch. Thank you. Let me turn myself. How does that sound? Sound better? Let me know if that sounds better. Yes, no, maybe a little better. Is it the music? Is the music too loud?
You have music playing? I can't even hear it.
I have music playing low in the background. Music loud. Alright, I'll turn it down.
Oh. Oh, and I just blew.
Oh
Go too.
my fucking god, it's a nerd.
Oh, and she's right behind me. Eh. Oops.
On you. At you.
Oh, and there I go.
Out of the open. Oh, out right there. Stay right there.
I always see the nurses wear the same outfit.
They do. It's the deeper outfit. You're Dookie. You can't find me. She loses me. She loses me in the rift. And I get the end. No, for the free. Yes, for the free. Doesn't want none of this goddess. No. I do think she's got Tinkerer. John, does that sound? I mean, yeah, does that sound better? watch for her coming over. I'm not sure if she has Tinkerer, but I'm just calling it. Yeah, yep, that's Tinkerer. She just leaves chase with me. You know there's a little Easter egg with these right here? You look at them and then look away and then look back at them, they all stare. At any angle. But I'm not looking at you. And if I look away and look back, now they are. Isn't that creepy? I didn't get my nest off quick enough. I spite the bull. Young Min's got bite. Part of the pallet if you can. You didn't hear me? Hello? Bree? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Into Bree. Hello, Bree. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Bree.
It said you disconnected.
You didn't hear me say get to the pallet?
No, it said you disconnected. I didn't know what happened.
Oh. Definitely did not just. I don't know what's going on. Can you still hear me? Oh, I'll definitely have to. Welcome into the live, everyone. Remember, if you are new, make sure you drop a follow. The game is Dead by Daylight.
What?
We are playing. I'm gonna have to. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yes or no? It's a no. So I'm gonna have to. Hi, Chica. That doesn't hit. That doesn't hit. That doesn't hit either. How much you wanna bet no one comes for me? How much are we betting? None of them come for me. We betting that? I don't know what. I don't know what is going on with my audio on Discord. You can hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm coming for the save.
Okay. And then
Oh, you want me to heal you?
you can. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That's fine. One gets out, we're out. We're chilling. Y'all just gotta run to that door now. You know where it is?
Yeah.
Get all out.
Okay, follow me. I hope.
Right here. Circle around.
Oh.
Oh, I fucked you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, guys. Just go.
I'm not leaving you.
I'm on death. I'm dead.
Oh, shit, you are.
Yeah. Just go. Run, 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 run.
Just tell me she doesn't go. I'll take the 3 out. I will take the 3 out. That's all I care about. I will take a 3.
Yes.
Three,
She only got one.
3. Let's get dubs in the chat. We'll use in the chat. Hey. Hey. There's this. And I don't know what is going on with the Discord. Every time I because every time I close it out of my hub, you can't hear me. Can you hear me still?
I think I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I think I fixed it.
Maybe that's why it said you disconnected, because it said you completely left.
I did not leave one time, I promise.
Yeah, it's weird. It said you left and then you rejoined. Maybe it's because when you close out the thingy, what you just said. I need to succeed at hailing skill checks. Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you go. Oh no, now I... Better. Better. We're laying there like... W. It doesn't even let me pull out this.
What?
Discord anymore.
That's weird.
Any song. Song is so. Hit the Dwight chain. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say. I thought he changed.
Oh, nice. Bloody party streamers and bound envelope.
Yeah, I think I. I can never find out like the perfect.
Oh.
Take it. DC. We've played like 4 games and we played 4 games in an hour. Still shows you're in a match.
I'm exiting out of it. I only remember playing one game with you.
I played 3 while waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I played 3 while waiting for you.
That sucks. Wait, do you still have your offering? Did you put the bloody party streamers or the bound envelope?
Put the envelope.
Do you still have it?
I have some. I don't know if I lost it.
That sucks, because for that round we were gonna have bloody party streamers and the envelope.
Oh shit, you're waiting on me to ready up, my bad.
Oh, I didn't know. How much longer are you gonna be up?
Best views on what? What are we talking about? Best views on what? Everyone that added, there are ads that are about to start. Remember, if you are subbed, you do get that ad-free viewing. It also helps me.
Did you hear what I said?
What? Sorry.
I said, how long are you staying up?
Probably a while. I'm gonna stream for about 5 hours. I'm only an hour in, so.
Oh my god. And it's what time for you? What time is it for you?
11. Yes, twin, I have a Santa hat on.
You're
gonna
gonna
have a-
stream until 4 a.m.?
No, it'll be like 2, 3.
I thought you said 5 hours though.
Yeah, I've already streamed for an hour, so, and it's 11 now. So I've
Oh,
already streamed
okay.
for an hour. So 12 is another, that'll be 2. 1 is 3.
Yeah.
Do you like my Santa hat, twin? Drops are enabled, by the way, so if you are watching, you do get in-game content for watching me. It's amazing. Come on. It's me. First of all, let me explain it like this. First of all, it's rye, and it's holiday season. So you've known me for how long? Like you've known me for like 2 years, 3 years almost. What? Celebrating for. Of course, I'm celebrating. Oh, hey, look. If you guys, also I will mention, even if you haven't used your Prime sub, you're more than welcome to use your Prime sub on me. Prime subs are welcome.
Give me a chance. I would be your.
I don't have one up either. It's okay. Up either. Free, do you get your Christmas tree up? Sorry, I'm talking to chat and I'm trying to talk to you at the same time. Welcome back, everyone.
No, it's fine.
Welcome back from the ad break. Welcome back from the ad break.
I do not have it up yet.
Oh, not yet.
No. We're gonna put it up soon though.
You are?
Yeah.
The killer didn't ready up.
I
You
know.
better
It's
get
okay
it
though.
up, though, twin. You better get it up soon though, because Christmas is in like, what, 20 days?
Yeah.
Actually. It's actually in 20 days. That's funny.
Someone bloody party streamers again, so that makes up for last round.
2 people.
Oh, nice.
I got an In-N-Out cheeseburger.
Oh, that sounds good. That makes me hungry. Now I'm hungry. It's fine.
Should we spice it up and play some Christmas music in the background?
Hmm?
Oh, I was talking to chat. I was saying, should we spice it up and play some Christmas music in the background?
What are you playing the music on? Because I can't hear it.
Playing it on Spotify. In stream.
Oh. Oh, okay.
It's on stream. It's not in here. It's on stream. I can just. I got like 12 things running. OBS. I got Spotify. I've got Steam. I've got GeForce. Is that what it's called? Go for it. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play the Pyramid Head.
Oh my god, this one person's username is funny.
Please outside. Oh shit! Well, you ain't gonna get me that easy. It's just punches power all over the place. so sorry whoever's on that generator in here, but I definitely just got it.
It's me.
My bad.
Oh, and now I'm down. It's okay. Oh, he turned around.
If I was like 10 seconds earlier, that would have been the perfect fucking flashlight save if I was there in time.
Damn, I almost wiggled too.
Oh, so if I would have taken a hit, you would have been off. You got trailers for a minute? I don't know. He hasn't kicked. I don't know. Oh! Excuse me? It was literally going up the stairs. He's got whatever perk that is. What? That, okay, I know y'all saw that. I hit. We talk about that hit for a second. Yeah, someone clip that real quick. That hit was crazy. Thank you.
He just kicked the gen. The gen I was working on.
Okay, so he doesn't got Trailer Torment.
It's like I can't touch this gen.
I was gonna see. I thought he was gonna come down here. My bad. My frames are dropping on stream. I'm so sorry, guys. Need to get a new capture card. And I need to replace everything.
Oh,
Has anyone got any fun Christmas plans for the holiday? I mean, any holiday plans? I'll celebrate Christmas. Is anyone going for that?
I'm in Chase.
I was hoping Tori was gonna go for it.
I don't know what she's doing.
He went for the unhook.
Okay.
He just
I'm caged. Mm-hmm.
I'd rather you get caged. Get that shit off. He's got what is that?
Yeah, blocks vault.
Yeah, everything. A full limit. Full limit.
I think he's gonna come over here now.
The generator right.
Oh, get off of it.
That was easy on her. It was an easy wiggle.
Oh damn, I'm dead again.
Yeah, you're more now. Yeah. Run, sorry. He's got the extender rod, doesn't he? Makes it longer. No, 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 no! Not this, He's still on me! Just run back this way, I guess? All you gotta do around him is literally just hold double. I should have waited at the pallet like I said I was going to. I knew, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna wait at the pallet because he's gonna throw that shit. And then, didn't wait at the fucking pallet and he threw it. Man, he needed the shit. Listen to my inner self next time. I got one gen left. Next time, listen to your intrusive thoughts. When your intrusive thoughts tell you something. He's camping me. My bar's filling up. Really? Out of all the places I could have went down, I had to have been right next to Basil.
She ran into a dead end.
I don't know why. Because he's would have taken hits. I feel like she would have wiggled. 100% I feel like she would have wiggled. I'm just gonna run as far away from her as comes for me again. Back palace up. Oh, I ran right by him. Ah, my fucking god. Can't even worry me, you dummy. Just step in your dick. Just step in your dumb. You hussy. GG's. Luck next. It was a good game. Don't have any more bound envelopes.
I don't have any either.
Bring out Cheryl. Yeah, we'll just run Cheryl. Right now. Hey everyone, remember if you do have your Prime sub and you have not used it yet, use it on your favorite streamer. Me. Me. All you gotta do for your Prime sub is just link your your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime. Hi, Strawberry. Yeah, it's a late stream tonight. Yep, it's a late one. Thank you for the stay hydrated. I'll go ahead and drink water you now. Thank you. The channel points, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. The channel points are not working right now. I have to fix them. Don't know what's going on with them. But, I can run Steve for you if you want. You can hear him scream. I'm gonna run Steve so you can hear him scream. Somebody did the Steve scream in chat and it didn't work. Now I'm gonna run Steve. I love that Dwight outfit. Yeah, Screamin' Steve. Brought it just for you, Strawberry. Oh, I forgot to play Christmas music for you guys. So sorry. Good enough. From pantry.
Yeah, that's where I spawned.
This is a Houndmaster.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that! I didn't mean to do that!
Me and Quentin are on this one, Jen, on the dock.
Whitey poo. How sweet. Oh, I might wiggle. Oh, no, I don't. He's got iron
Is Dwight
grass.
getting you?
Maybe. Possibly. Yes. Indeed. Maybe. No. Maybe. No.
Quentin's coming, I think.
Dwight's coming now.
Okay.
Dwight is coming. Hi everyone, welcome in. Hi everyone, welcome to Twitch Live. Hi. My name is Rye. If you are new here. We play a lot of games from Dead by Daylight to Overwatch, Fortnite, Minecraft. Play some cozy games here and there. We've been hooked on this one game called Grounded recently. A lot of Grounded.
There goes Quentin.
Starstruck. Did she bring a backpack?
I got it.
Yeah. I'm running a whole backpack. Coming on me. Come back.
Oh, okay.
Running a whole backpack. I think. Well, no, she's got Iron Grass and Starstruck. She's got Agi too. I think she's moving really quick, so I think she's got Agi.
Hopefully she doesn't.
He was still exposed. I don't know why he healed. I don't know.
Is there a gen you're working on? Or
I was.
is Dwight? Oh, I think She's coming over to that gen. I found a gen someone was working on.
Look
You looped her for that gen though.
best.
Thanks, Dwight. I love you so much. Let me kiss you. Let me give you a big kiss. That doesn't matter. Wait, kiss me again for the second? No, it doesn't. Nice. I love you, Dwight. I think I need one of
Do you need me to come get you?
Yeah, I think
Okay. Okay, I'm coming over.
Hey everyone, welcome in. Oh, you were grabbing me, I missed my Probably shouldn't. Left Dwight, so yeah.
Damn it, the dog. Just stay in front of me.
I think she tunnels me now. I know.
Nope.
Didn't even get the flashy. Okay.
She's coming right your way. She's gonna hook me near around there.
I need to know where Dwight and them are so I can get
I think they're on a gen. Well, I know Quentin's on a gen that I was on. She's seeking the gens.
okay.
How does she get over there so quickly?
Dog. She can move across the map really quick.
Is she still bugged or did they fix it?
Oh, bug. Need him to take her away from me. I need him to take her away.
I do not think we should be healing here. Stop healing me. Oh, god damn it, I'm dead.
Unfortunately. Or let out next.
It's okay. How has Dwight not got hooked?
He's just good at looping. Look at him. I'm not fucking around with the dog. Bye bye. Bye. Unfortunately, he got downed. I was not going back to help him because.
Oh my god, Quentin's gonna get a hatch. Get the hatch, Quentin. I think, oh no, he gets worried. And the hatch opened right by him and Shaq. Damn, that sucks. He had a key too.
Game! Thank you, John, for the bits. Thank you for the 100 bits.
Hello. Hi. Daro's Aimer just followed. Welcome to Rise Tavern.
Welcome in. Thank you for the follow so much. My name is Rye. We play a variety of games from Dead by Daylight to Overwatch. We play Minecraft. We play a lot of cozy games. GG's to you as well. And welcome in. Welcome to Rise Tavern. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. Were you the killer? Or were you one of the survivors? I still can't believe that Quentin almost died. Everyone on stream right now, we are going to start streaming daily, so if you do enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button, that way you know when I do go live, so you don't miss the next live video. Hello, Umbry.
What? What'd you say?
I said hello.
Yes, follow Rye, guys.
Yeah. You were the Dwight. No, hey, I literally, you saved me on the pier, and I was like, I'm literally going to kiss you right now. I was so thankful.
That was
for
funny.
save. Unfortunately, I did get down again instantly, but hey, it bought me a little bit of time, right? Strawberry, you got it a warning because you're spamming emotes. I don't know why it does that. I gotta turn that off. I gotta turn that shit off because I want you guys to spam the emotes. Oh wait, and since Quinn's requested Christmas, like I'm want to switch over to Christmas. Fuck it over. We have just listen to Christmas vibes, but not Christmas. What's that? This one? You still there, Brie?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Alright, everyone that is on Twitch, unfortunately there is another ad break because at the end of the day that does help me. But just remember, you are more than welcome to subscribe, or if you haven't used your Prime membership sub, you're more than welcome to use it on your favorite streamer, me, obviously. But unfortunately, unless you don't have any of them, the ads are about to. Also, If anyone in here is trying to join the Discord and the link is not working, let me know if the link is not working. I will put a new link in. Quinn, I know, Quinn, can you try to join the Discord and see if it works, if it lets you join or not? In here. Does not work? Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and, get that. I appreciate it. They changed this. They changed Nightbot up so much. Now I gotta find ults. I'll fix it up. I changed the Discord a while ago. Because I went on a rebranding thing. I went on a whole rebrand thing. Branding like Twitch and everything. And then that's when I changed. But I'll put it in here, that way you can join.
Another pyramid head.
Oh, great. That's low-key not good for us. Oh, he wasn't even chasing you and he hit you.
I know.
That break ends in 13 seconds, guys. You're almost there. Almost there. Welcome back from the ad break, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah, but Twin, I'll throw the new Discord up in there in a minute. Finish this game. Want to make sure you didn't have pain res. I think he's coming to me. We're just gonna run. We're just gonna hold W and go the other side. He's got trail a torment. I'm gonna circle. I'm gonna touch that generator. The real thing is it doesn't even feel like it's December, does it?
No, it doesn't. He's coming.
Okay, he had Deli. are you? Oh, above.
Damn, he's gonna hook me again. I'm gonna be on second phase already.
And you phased the wall. That doesn't hit. That doesn't hit. No. No. Jamie Bolton. It might wiggle, low-key. Oh no, there's a hook right here. What is this Felix doing? You might have to
Let me know.
Me.
Where you at?
And at the end of the hall. Or that jet, by that jet, I mean, you apologize.
I don't think we should heal here.
No. No, we should not.
Oh. God damn it, how did he know where I was?
He's got nurses calling. That's how he knew. It's 100% nurses calling. And you're bringing him right into the room with us?
It's fine, he's staying on me. He wants me because I'm on Death Hook. And there we go.
I moved over so you can fucking heal! Hey, you're shaking his head no at me.
Bye.
Got nurse. There's 2 gens left. Bust out these last 2 jets. I know there's one over here. Evil. He kicked that generator and got no value out of it. He kicked that generator, got no value out of it. Not going for him. I don't know if I make it to him. Yes. This is such a bad map for like survivors. Such a good map, but very bad map for survivors. Basement. Right. We gave up on hope. Got me. Got Trail of Torment on that yellow gen over there.
He just stood there. I think you're gonna get Hatch, maybe.
He's gonna slug him. You ain't gonna find me that easy. Oh fuck, I can't get in on this side. Of course I can. We ain't gonna get that Mori off. I will literally stay alive the entire time since he wanted to slug that.
He's like, I'm waiting.
You ain't gonna get the Mori. I'll stay alive. I think he still gets Mori'd, but it's so boring. Why slug? Why literally slug the entire last part of the game just to get that Mori? I wish they would take that shit out. That's the stupidest thing that they've added to the game since fucking destroying Dead Hard, bro. Worst mechanic in the game. Like, tell me how that's fun. You literally get to slug. You can if you really wanted to, you could load into a match and slug every survivor and hook them just to get that Mori. Stupid.
Yeah.
Not fair, fair for the survivors because now I have to sit here and suffer fucking because you don't want to hook him. Retarded. I wish they would get rid of it already. Hate it. Guys, we're 2 hours into this. We're 2 hours into the 5-hour stream. 2 hours into the 5-hour stream. You got 3 more hours to deal with me. So make sure you got your popcorn. Make sure you got your drinks. Make sure you're ready to go because you're here for another 3. Just saying.
When did you start streaming?
I've been streaming for like the last 2 years. I just stopped for a while.
No, I meant like when did you start streaming? Like now?
Today?
Yeah, like what time?
2 hours
That's what I
ago.
meant.
9:30. 9:45.
Oh, okay.
Because we're 2 hours in, so yeah. Oh, I was fixing the Discord. Hang on. Hey, disable. Timers, that's where it is. It's under timers. Every 6 minutes. Copy my. Hey, my Discord won't open. My Discord's not opening because I accidentally hit it. I have to close out Discord and reopen it. It's not letting me bring out. Mount Ormond. Welcome back from the ad break, everyone. Look at that, it literally times it perfectly. It takes ad breaks while I'm loading in the games. Huntress. He's got a hex. I think it's my hex. He's got Thrill of the Hunt. Alright, so you can find, when you find totems, if you can cleanse them.
Okay.
Because she's got a whole totem build. And I'm running Scene Partner, so if I scream, I'm gonna be pissed. Probably not a good build, right guys? Alright, so she's got Thrill of the Hunt. I know she's got Ruin as well. I'm just gonna cleanse every single totem. And then if she's got fucking Penimento, oops. We just have to follow through and make sure we're cleansing all totems. All totems. Other totem. One of you guys grab
I'm
that.
looking. Where is it?
She's a swimmer! We are a swimmer, baby! No more hatchets. Load probably. You're not healing by that hook, are you?
We are. We're the rock.
Fucking I gotta run Steam Partner. Oh, where is she throwing this hatchet? Main? Oh yeah. There's a totem over here that she's guarding. Something good.
Is it by you?
It's right by me. It's literally right next to my hood.
Is anyone coming for you, or am I gonna have to get off the gen?
I don't even see you. She's got third seal.
Oh, okay. Oh shit, where did you get hooked? I can't even see where you got hooked.
Over by where you unhooked the other person.
Where is it? Where's the totem?
Right where she's looping.
Oh shit, I didn't know you guys were up here.
Yeah.
I'm on the pallet though. I'm on the pallet though. Oh damn, it doesn't work.
Oh. No, that Nia is the stupidest fucking Nia I have seen in my entire fucking life. Like, what? She doesn't touch generator. She's hiding on top of the fucking map. And then she misses the fucking pallet stun. No. That was the perfect flash. I was there too. You know what's crazy is I was there for that flashlight.
Yeah.
Don't know where.
I don't think it hit because the Nia messed up the pallet stun.
Oh, she's.
Yeah, it's not filling up.
I'm over at the saw. I'm in, ow,
Where?
mill at the plow, the single plow.
Oh, I need to mend myself.
I'm making that Nia go for that.
I don't have anything really in my med kit. Oh wait. Oh wait, no, wait, yeah, I don't.
Or I'll heal you. Pop out.
This is the gen I was trying to work on.
Might have
Oh. Damn.
We got one gen left. We might be able to make it out this time. on me! I'm not dead on hook. I don't know why. Maybe this is why you shouldn't slug. Now we're all gonna wait in this match for the next 4 minutes.
What'd you say?
I said I don't know why she decided to slug because now we're all gonna wait in this match for the next 4 minutes and she's not gonna get that many blood points for slugging us. What's fun about this? I don't understand what is fun about this. Now you. You ain't good. You literally slug, homie. Like you ain't good, bro. Oh wow, shocker! She's gonna slug for the Mori. Let me guess. I just report every single time that they slug for no reason. I just report them. I literally just report them.
That's good though.
I'm about to be rude. I said slug and then spun like you did some. So boring. Yeah, I guess that was GG. If that's what you call GG. I mean, you slugged just for the Mori, like, and then you spun like you thought you did something. I didn't find that fun at all. You gotta slug to win the game, that is not fun. Hey, you know, each your own, right? GG's. Guys, we are 2.5 hours into the 5 hours stream. 2 hours. 2.5 hours, 5 hours. You gonna be up for a while, Bree?
Probably. A little bit.
Thank you, Strawberry, for the stay hydrated. Welcome in, everyone. You do have an ad break, unfortunately, but that is how we make our money. So if you haven't used your Prime, you're more than welcome to use your Prime sub on your favorite streamer. Me, I'm your favorite streamer. John, I don't know if you're still up in here. Can you see if that new Discord link works? If you're in here, I'm not sure if you are or not. Oh my god, I didn't even realize someone gave me a sub. Sub. Didn't even notify me that someone subbed. Whoever it was, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Definitely did not notify me. Thank you.
It fills the winter air. Hear them ring. You hear it everywhere. Soon it will be Christmas Day.
Alright, chat. Alright, chat. Let's do this. That Ace has got the whole Christmas outfit on. I'll run the. Wasn't going to run her because I didn't have no buddy party streamer. Random. Or sealed. There's the new Discord link. Someone can test that out for me.
It's the Houndmaster again.
How are you still getting that?
I don't know.
Does anyone know why? Okay, so we've faced the Houndmaster definitely more than 3 times, but we're still getting like the hints on. I'm not, but my other person in the party is. Does anyone know why? Did they change it? So you have to against her?
I've escaped against her though.
Oh, I was asking chat.
No, I know you were. I'm just saying, like, I have escaped against her, so I don't know why it's doing that.
know how to play against them. I just hold W. Look behind me when you're hog.
Do I need to go for the
Find me
save?
a rat.
No, I. Back in your.
Now.
She's slugging? Oh no.
She was just making sure everyone was in the area. Guess she's a flashlight. In the basement hook.
Do I need to go for the save?
No, I'm in.
Okay.
Now.
Are we gonna respect me? You're going to wait. I'm in chase. You're genuinely going to pass.
Fight.
He's on my ass. I need generators. No one is on generators.
We were, but we searched the one near us.
I have nothing. There's no pallets over in this entire part of the map. None. Blast mine.
Find me a rat. You are a worthy companion, aren't you?
I feel like no generators got done that entire chase I was in.
Well, we had to get off the gen because she came in here.
It was on me. She probably wasn't even that worried about y'all, to be honest.
Well, she did kick the generator, and the dog searched it. I seen her. She was right by me.
Generator right behind me. Like no pallets over here. It's on me, I'll take her. He leaves you. Pop that gen, right?
No, I did not get to. Yeah, I'm gonna get down. Hold on. It's okay. The one I was working on the one in Maine.
I'll get that one now. Hi everyone, welcome into the TikTok live. I mean, the Switch live. I'm not streaming on TikTok anymore. I was earlier, but
I think she's going back that way.
pop it. Right in her face. I know she's mad about that one. I popped that right in her face. Where's this last? And oh, I see it. He comes over here. I'll try to take aggro towards his back.
Oh,
He's not coming.
I
yet.
thought the dog.
Now she will.
I thought the dog was. Because when I hear the bark, I thought.
No, you only have to leave the gem when you see the red flame. Okay. Alright, whatever. Damn. I just don't understand. Like, she is so fucking buggy. It's not even funny. I'll pop that last gem because I got adrenaline, and if I don't get value out of it, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm trying to tell this person no. No, don't do it.
You
No.
gotta come get me. I mean, she'll be fine because by the time you get me and everything, the gem will be done.
She's on my ass.
My pallet is still up. You gotta hug Shaq. You gotta hug Shaq. You're not hugging Shaq. You can't. I need help. No one. Oh, yeah.
I think she's gonna put me on the same hook. Yeah. Okay.
So, oh my, I just don't under fucking stand. Like, how? Yeah, because how? Like, I don't under, it doesn't make fucking any sense, bro. Oh, like, she is so fucking buggy. Like, they need to fix her. If she hit me, and it doesn't hit, should not have hit at all. Like, some of the hits that she got on me, not have hit. I don't know. They need to fix her. They need to some of her animations.
Damn, I think I'm gonna die again.
There was like 3 of those fucking hits that shouldn't have hit me. They did. Alright, right. Alright, whatever.
Damn, I keep dying.
Yeah. No. It is what it is. I didn't know they changed the sacrificial wards to a comment. I mean, I'm gonna add one.
What's that? Yeah, what is that? I can't remember.
One where the cancels out the.
Oh, they changed it to common?
Alright, Alright, Wawa.
Just another drink then.
That took a lot of convincing.
Alright, just because I'm doing something.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting, tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the show. We're riding in a wonderland of snow. Giddy up, it's grand, just holding your hand. We're gliding along with the song of a wintry fairyland. Our cheeks are nice and rosy and comfy, cozy are we. We've snuggled close together like two birds of a feather would be. Let's take that road before us and sing a chorus or two. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Didn't even pull it out.
Birthday party at the home of Farmer Gray. It'll be the perfect ending of a perfect
Here we
day. We'll be singing the songs we love to sing without a single stop. At the fireplace where we'll watch the chestnuts pop. Pop, pop, pop. There's a happy feeling nothing.
Alright, just I'm gonna throw this up on there real quick.
Around the coffee and the pumpkin pie. It'll nearly be like a picture print by Currier and Ives. These wonderful things are the things we remember all through our lives. These wonderful things are the things we remember all through our lives. Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting, tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the show. We're riding
It's fine.
wonderland of snow. Giddy up,
Thank you. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be streaming tomorrow as well. You're more than welcome to tomorrow and say what.
nice and rosy and comfy, cozy are we.
More than welcome to.
Close together like two birds of a feather would be. Let's take that road before us and sing a chorus or two.
That one.
I'm gonna start prestiging Bill.
Lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better watch out. You better not cry. Better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming.
Actually, I think I'm gonna prestige Dwight.
Yeah, Dwight's very. I think we're good, guys. Oops. I don't. It's not letting me throw that on there. So you guys want to play Worlds on stream while I'm gone?
What?
He sees you when
How do I do that?
he knows when you are awake. He knows if you're You better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why.
Okay, I started it.
Santa Claus is coming to town, oh yeah. Santa Claus is coming to town. 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 Little tin horns and little toy drums, booty toot toot and rubber tum tums, curly head dolls that toodoo and coo, elephant boats and kitty cars too. Oh, Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh yeah, Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. One more time now. Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh yeah, Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see every couple tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and do some caroling. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of holly. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way.
Alright, chat, I'm back. Okay.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree.
Turn the music down a little bit because
Been an awful good girl, Santa baby.
okay, I'm gonna change the Christmas. Did I open up that by? Did I open up Steam? Video overload. I don't want to relaunch it. I don't want to relaunch it.
Hello?
You're being really quiet.
Oh, sorry, I'm just tired.
If you want to go to bed, you can. I'm gonna be up for a
I
while,
prob-
so.
I might after this match. I don't know yet. Are you gonna play any other games?
If I do, I'm gonna play around it.
What's that?
It's kind of like kind of like Minecraft and Fallout mix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's a really cozy game. I like it. Yep. It was a last minute switcher back. Didn't realize I wasn't running a flashlight. I didn't do that shit on purpose. Ormond again? Think of the pig. Thought I heard it. There's a trick.
I'm trying to find a gen.
Fire struck.
Is that a basement hook? I think Michaela might be going for the save, or are you going for the save?
I'm not, I'm in phase.
Okay, I'll go for the save. Oh, okay, never mind.
I didn't even mean to throw that. I'm so tired of Ormond, bro.
Yeah. Let me know if anyone's gonna come and get you.
Be careful, he does have a special.
Okay.
It is an insta down if he doesn't.
I'm gonna try and go for the save.
Yeah, he's not over.
Okay.
No, he
Is he?
was. Okay, I'll throw stack pallet. He doesn't even M2 me. It's like he only M1s me. It's so boring. Like I want you to try to M2 me. Don't be scared. He has enough one of his blades against me one time. It's okay to be scared. Just don't show it. We got one gen left. Or are you looping from that?
Main.
Oh, I see you. Make sure you just dodge. He can't hit you in those. He cannot hit you unless he hits you with the blade. That stupid blood wouldn't have shooted herself. I could have got that flash to me.
Basement hook. He got more blades.
really do anything until that mic goes by. What are the other two doing?
They're running. I think someone's coming for me. I think it's the Claudette.
Yep. Come on, come to me. Stop being a little bitch. Oh, you M2 me when I'm injured. Like the fuck? You can M2 me and chase, but you cannot hit me and then M2 me. Grow some. Grow a sack of balls. Coming into main.
Okay. Is anyone coming for you?
Nope.
Okay, I'll be on my way.
Oh, what is? Gotta find the generator. Oh, here's one. I need heals. Where are you?
I found a gen. Or where are you at?
I'm over by the plow. No plow.
Okay.
All the gens were done on the one side of the map. There's 3 gens again.
At least main's done.
Main's not done.
Main isn't? I thought main was done. Okay, I'm by the snowplow. Where are you at?
Oh, struck.
Yeah, me too.
Should finish that. Okay, I guess we're nothing.
Where?
Oh no.
Oh,
I'm on a dwarf by the unhook. Can you grab that unhook?
yeah.
I'm on the door by the saw, where that was the plow where you just killed me.
Okay. I'm going and getting the unhook.
We know if he's there. I'll heal it. The hook. Oh,
Yeah, she wanted me to heal her.
Get out of that.
Till I took psilocybin, hopped onto the one train, fantasizing, saw a man take a nap so terrifying that he didn't have a place to stay.
Jeez, guys.
No, I'm only 3 hours. I haven't 5 hours on. Really long. I need YouTube. I'm gonna sit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm muted. I was muted and no one told me on Switch.
You
How long was-
were? For how long?
I don't know. I'm about to ask. How long was I muted for? Just last match. Was muted the whole last match. All right. Well, if you're going to be watching this past broadcast on YouTube, there is going to be a part where my voice is not in it, but it'll be back. I don't think you're going crazy. Okay, Brie, I'm getting tired. I might just call it 3 hours.
You're getting tired? Are you gonna get off now? Okay.
1 a.m.
It's 4 for me, almost.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone that joined in today, I appreciate you guys for stopping in. Remember, I'll be streaming tomorrow as well. So if you want to join in, you're more than welcome to join tomorrow. Thank you. Tuning in today. And I'll see everyone tomorrow.
Okay.
Mix the pain with the pleasure. That's the way of the devil. If tomorrow was your last day, would you leave or would you follow me? I could put my love in your mouth, will you swallow it? Feel the same when we fuck, that's your punishment. Pray to God he won't find out that you wanted this, that you wanted this.
Who do we want to?
What?
Dang, who do I want to read? Who's
Did you end your stream? Hello?
Bye everyone. Have a good night.